الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Praise be to Allah. Alhamdulillah, we seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our bad deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides can never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, none can guide. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the One, the Exalted, Ghafur Rahim, Ghafur al-Wadud, the most merciful, the most loving, having no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His final messenger. My dear brothers and sisters, the truest of word is Kitab Allah, the Book of Allah, and the best of guidance, you will find it in the Sunnah, and it's the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The worst of things are those that are newly invented, and every newly invented thing is an innovation, and every innovation is going astray, and every going astray is in an-nar, is in the fire. My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to talk about a topic that is related to what we're going through now as a community, during this time specifically. And as we look outside, we see that summer is close to an end. And as we see these last summer days and early fall days, come in, we are still left, right, with specific opportunities to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are unique to these times, that are unique to these days. And it is during these times, right, that we are invited to those last final summer events, those last final summer celebrations, those weddings, maybe even funerals, hosted by near relatives, by close friends. And it is during these times, right, that we are invited by those who are our kin, our blood relatives, that we have opportunities to spend time with them, to visit them, to indulge an activity with them, to invite them, our kin, our blood relatives. And in these times, we receive opportunities, not just to engage with family members, not just to pass time with family and blood relatives, but to actually elevate yourself, to actually gain a higher maqam, a higher rank with Allah Azza wa Jal. And it is also during these times that our modern lifestyle encourages independence, individualism, and self-reliance. And while these qualities, right, are important, it should not come at the expense of your family ties. You should not give this as an excuse to forsake your family ties, your blood, your kinship, your relationship with your family. And it is during these days, these specific days, that we find ourselves distant from our relatives, either physically or emotionally. And our phones, right, our cell phones, they help enhance the fact that our schedule is so busy, right? Back-to-back meetings, phone calls, texts, engaging back-to-back content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, video games, whatever you call it, right? And maybe it's the generational gap, right? For the kids, the younger ones. Like, these people, like these uncles and aunties, they're the ones from the past generation. They used to do that, right? They used to visit each other. They used to give gifts to each other. They used to visit their siblings, visit their parents, call their siblings, call their parents. Not us, right? We have technology. We're so busy. We're trying to get ahead in work. We're trying to get ahead in school, have our own living, right? Be that independent person, be that independent brother and sister, right? But this too, my dear brothers and sisters, this kinship, alongside your salah, your ibadat, your zakat, your hajj, your umrah, this kinship, this too is a part of your deen. And it is a very important part of your deen, your way of life. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, with no partner, observe salah, observe the prayer, give zakat, and unite the ties of kinship. And what happens when we don't keep these ties of kinship? Rasulullah tells us that uniting the ties of kinship leads to gaining a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He tells us when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the universe, right? When He created the universe, when He created creation, and you can imagine all types of creation, who comes up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's kinship. Kinship, those family ties, the actually you maintaining those family ties, that kinship itself comes up and makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying, Ya Allah, I seek refuge with you from those who cut me off, who cut my ties. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds, does it not please you, O kinship, that I will keep good relations with the one who will keep good relations with you? And on the contrary, I will cut off my connection, my relation with the one who cuts off, who severs the relations with you. And kinship responds, yes, Ya Rabbi, it pleases me that you will do that. And you may ask yourself, right, what is the example of someone who keeps kinship? And you know, sometimes people have it tough when it comes to kinship. It's the truth. People have it tough, right? Some people have blood relatives that are actually genuinely very mean, whether it's being mean physically or emotionally. But there is one beautiful example of someone that we can look at, that we can call upon, right, and remember. And that is the example of someone who learned directly from Nabi alayhi wassalatu wassalam. It's Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And many of you know this story. It is during the slander of Aisha radiallahu anha, his own daughter, where the people, even the Sahaba in Medina, were accusing her, Aisha, that she committed a horrendous act. So the people in his community were accusing her daughter, right, without knowing her circumstances, without direct evidence. People were quick to judge. They were quick to judge, and amongst those who were quick to judge, quick to make those claims, those dishonest claims against her, were also family members. Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. It is during this time that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu's cousin, Mistah ibn Uthatha radiallahu anhu, a man, right, a family member who Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu gave charity to often, participated in spreading that slander of Aisha radiallahu anha. And I want to stop here and just take a second at this, right? How often do we see nowadays that we help our family members, right, with sadaqah? Yes, we help miskeen. Yes, we do donate through these online portals with various organizations, which is good, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you, inshallah ta'ala. But those family members, whether they're here or back home, that are actually not doing well, when is the last time you've seen or heard, or when is the last time you yourself have actually given sadaqah to a relative? Not doing so well back home, or not doing so well here, subhanAllah. And that is one key takeaway. But going back to the story, subhanAllah, I want you to imagine Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu as a father, right? Or maybe you don't have a child and you're married, as a husband or as a brother if you're not married and you don't have children, and someone spreads rumors, right, about your sister, about your wife, about someone beloved to you like your daughter. How hurt you would feel, how upset you would be. And some of us, we would go to that person, whether it's a family member or not, fists ready, fists ready, voice ready, ready to go after them, subhanAllah. And it's coming from a family member, subhanAllah, right? That makes that person really upset. It puts that person in a very tough situation, subhanAllah, where shaitan wants to make you hate that person, right? Wants you to never speak to that person, never look in the direction of that person, have that conflict, right? Or as the youth call it, have that beef with that person, subhanAllah. And he, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, was very upset, right? To the point, not only did he stop talking, right, he stopped giving his charity. Of course, he stopped giving his charity to his cousin, until verses came down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanAllah. And this is where in Surah An-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals in verse 22, do not let the people of virtue and affluence among you swear to suspend donations to their relatives. The needy, and the emigrants in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let them, those affluent people, let them pardon and forgive. For do you not love to be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah is indeed Ghafur Rahim. He is indeed all forgiving, the most merciful. And it is at this moment, right, you can imagine Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the first one to take the mantle of Caliphate after Nabi alayhi wassalatu wassalam, to hold the ummah together, how he breaks down and starts crying, right? After these verses are sent down. أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. That would you not love to be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This man, right, this man, you can imagine, put yourself, actually visualize this and put yourself in this situation, where this man whose daughter went through horrendous slander, right? Imagine the emotions, that anger, that resentment that you would have towards that relative who helped spread that slander. But instead of that, pushing it to the side. For the sake of Allah, for the sake of kinship, maintaining those ties of kinship for the sake of being forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can imagine Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu not just continuing to speak right after these verses came down, right after this knowledge has been shared from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Not just continuing to speak with his cousin who spread this slander, not just continuing to interact with him, but also giving sadaqah, still giving charity with that soft, pure heart of his. And you can imagine us, right? Like if someone were to commit slander against one of our own family members, sure, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to maintain ties, we'll maintain ties. We'll talk to them on a monthly basis. But giving that sadaqah again, they're not going to take a penny of mine. No way. But Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, not for himself, not for other people, not for his cousin, but just for the sake of Allah, continues this, just for Allah. Because it is not him who's going to reward himself. It is not his cousin who's going to reward him and be happy with him. Maybe his cousin will get rich in the future. He doesn't know. But it is so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him, and indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him and will reward us if we maintain these ties. And you can imagine again how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showered His rahmah, showered His mercy, showered His blessings upon Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu for maintaining these ties. And if you know the story of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, then you know how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him. For Nabi alayhi wassalatu wasalam says, whoever loves that he would be granted more sustenance and that his lifespan would be prolonged, then he should unite the ties of kinship, subhanAllah. And we see again how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showered his like, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, with that rahmah, with those barakah. So we remember this example, right, of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu forgiving his cousin, moving past that, not holding on to that beef, that conflict, that anger, that resentment, that shaitan wants him to have for his kin, his brother in Islam. And what can we take away, right? How can we move past our grudges within our communities, within our families, with those relatives, right? Because everyone's situation, everyone's circumstance is very different. How can we move past those grudges with that relative who may have gotten more than us, who may not work as hard as us, who may not have those good qualities and mannerisms towards us like we do towards them, who still hurt us emotionally, still maintaining that tie with them, not for us, right? Not for them, but for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. For would you not forgive, right? So that you may be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because do we not all love to be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Would we all not love to have Allah forgive us and be pleased with us for eternity? Would we not love to achieve that reward both in this dunya and in the akhirah? That sustenance, those blessings, that forgiveness that comes directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my dear brothers and sisters, as these last final summer days trickle away, as these fall days start, remember to interact with your kin, with your relatives, with those family friends that you have. Attend those weddings, attend those events, be good to them, kind to them. And everyone's situation and circumstance is different, right? Everyone is going through a different hardship with their family. But subhanAllah, there are ways to navigate that. SubhanAllah, there are ways to maintain good character, good mannerisms towards them, and depending on your situation and your circumstance. SubhanAllah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So my dear brothers and sisters, that is the takeaway for today, for our community, for these next coming months, inshallah. But as for our masjid here, we have a special announcement to make, that our masjid is in dire need of funds every month, right? So this isn't the traditional asking for donations, asking for funds. We have a monthly installment, right, of more than 100K for our beautiful new masjid that we've just purchased, where inshallah our kids, our grandkids, our progeny, literally our progeny, will learn, study the deen, and accelerate, right, in their deen, dunya, and akhirah, inshallah. And we're looking for sisters, right, brothers and sisters, who can give consistently. The ask today is not for $10,000. It's not necessarily for $20,000. Although that would be nice. It's not even for 1,000. We're just looking for a few brothers and sisters, around 1,000 brothers and sisters who can contribute consistently, who can give $100 every month. Just 1,000 brothers and sisters who can give $100 every month. That's it. Or whatever is in your capacity, whether that be $20 a month. If you're a student, or if in university, maybe you have those uni fees of $10 a month. Or maybe you landed your first job and you're trying to save, so $50 a month, whatever it is, right? The Rasul tells us, take up good deeds, take them, don't let them slip. Only as much as you are able to, only that which is in your capacity. For these good deeds, right, are the best of good deeds. And those deeds that are done regularly, even if they are few, those are the best of good deeds. Subhanallah. So even if that $100 payment that you make to the masjid, right, is the only payment you make, the only sadaqah you make, but it is consistent on a monthly basis, maybe a bi-weekly basis, maybe it's every 2 months. As long as it is consistent, inshallah, it will be amongst the best of good deeds, for this is the sunnah. So my dear brothers and sisters, please give consistently and help our masjid out. And you can easily donate by going online and selecting the monthly option, or having your e-transfers donate on a monthly basis, like send money on a monthly basis, inshallah. The brothers in the back can help you guys out, inshallah. So my dear brothers and sisters, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because everyone has it hard, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to hold these ties of kinship. Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His mercy on us, as He showered His mercy on the righteous companions and the prophets. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the people of Palestine. In the previous khutbah, all of us should always remember the people in Palestine, the people who are suffering everywhere, all these Muslims who are suffering, who do not have it as good as us. The Uyghur Muslims, right? The people in Palestine, the people in Syria, the people in Yemen, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, all these countries in the east, subhanAllah, all these countries where they literally do not have it good as us. If they looked at us, they would think we're living as kings and queens, subhanAllah. Even they would look at the poorest person in our society and think this person has it better than us, subhanAllah. For they can, even pray salah. Like the Uyghur Muslims can't even pray their salah. They can't even keep their beard. I think it's Uzbekistan. The men can't keep their beard. The police officers force them to go into a barbershop and shave it off, the beard, subhanAllah. So my dear brothers and sisters, make dua for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon them. May Allah forgive them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Jannatul Firdaus. All those martyrs who passed, all those who are suffering right now. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير والحمد لله وسبحان الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله والله أكبر. وربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. اللهم أعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. وربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وبارك على محمد كما باركت على آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. قم الصلاة.